call the Raleigh Transit Authority meeting to order. Today is April 10th. It is 3:33 p.m. We're glad to be here this afternoon. First things first, we'll go around our board table here and do introductions. We'll start at the end. Mr. Leek.
Byron Leek.
Mark Teague.
Leo Suarez.
Jennifer Truman.
Linda Davis.
Christian Daniels.
Nadja Johnson.
Thank you all for being here today. First thing in our agenda is approval of the March action summary minutes. Does anyone have any edits, or would you like to make a motion to approve?
I move that we approve those.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, the March minutes are approved. Are there any revisions or additions to today's agenda?
Mr. Eatman would like to make a few comments. I don't think he's in the room yet. He had a strategic plan meeting,
Okay.
but he will be here, so maybe at the end of the meeting, we give him a few minutes.
Okay, we'll put him in between the committee and the general manager. Does that work? All right, anyone else have any additions or revisions? Okay. The first thing that we wanted to do at the top of each board meeting, if you guys recall, is talk about advocacy opportunities, things that board members have recently attended or will be attending that relate to transit or transportation. We'll start on the left side. Hey, Ms. Williams. Ms. Johnson, would you like to share any advocacy events that have recently happened or that you will be attending?
No,
Okay.
not yet.
No worries. We'll keep going down if you guys don't mind, just so everyone has a chance.
Not at this time.
I have none.
I know you just got here. We were just talking about advocacy opportunities.
I don't have anything at the moment, but I'm sure there will be. The CAC meeting is not until next month, so that'll be it for me.
Okay. I did attend the TPAC meetings, the last two meetings, and with nothing in particular to report for those outside of what you guys have already heard about the Wake Transit Plan update and the need to fill out the kind of general public surveys that are coming out with those. So that's not new information, but is ongoing conversation.
For me, I'm actually got on my calendar this Wake Transit Plan 101. I think that might be kind of interesting. See if I can make it, get some time out for that. But that is on, I don't have it written down, end of April. April 30th, thank you. So I'm looking forward to that. And we'll probably talk about some May stuff here in, later in the agenda.
Mr. Teague.
Yes. Well, not directly with the city, but I was in D.C. last month during this meeting, and I spoke with several other visually impaired people nationwide, and I want to comment on the city of Raleigh because from conversations I had with others, we have provided the best paratransit system in the nation and the most cost efficient. It's also the most service customer oriented, and I want to commend the city council, and especially the mayor's committee who've developed this program.
Thanks. It's good to hear. Mr. Leek, did you have anything?
No, I did not.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
I haven't attended any meetings, but next Wednesday, the 16th, I will be attending the District E monthly meeting.
Yeah, that's great. I hope that as folks continue to attend district meetings or CAC meetings or other meetings, that you feel comfortable taking transit items that we're working on back to those meetings as well. That reminded me that I forgot to mention when I was at my neighborhood CAC virtual meeting, I shared our great statistics about our ridership being above pre-pandemic levels, and everyone was surprised to hear that, but it's nice to have good bus news. So I think there's little micro opportunities to advocate that may not be about a particular program or funding or something, but just sharing what is going on or good news, like Mr. Teague was talking about as well. So that's why we hold this spot in our agenda now monthly. So keep remembering to bring items back and forth.
I'm just looking forward at my calendar here. April 24th is the next TPAC meeting.
Okay. Does anyone want to volunteer to attend the next TPAC meeting? Are you going to keep letting me enjoy that one?
Is that in Cary?
Is that one in person or virtual?
I think it's in person. I'll check and see. We'll put that in the weekly update and let you know for sure.
Are you volunteering, Mr. Teague?
Well, if I'm in Cary, we don't have transportation to Cary.
Uh-oh.
That's another advocacy point.
We will take that under advisement for future.
I'll be out of town.
I can attend.
That'd be great.
Just need where and what time.
Staff can definitely share those details when they get posted by the team that's planning that meeting. They did switch last month, or the month, at sort of last minute, they switched it to virtual, which makes it a little easier. Are there any other meetings we should know about? Okay. We're going to, I'm looking at the time, it's about 3:40, so we're going to move into some agenda items, and we'll come back to public comment at 4, just because everybody knows that that happens at 4. And I know we have at least one person signed up. So it looks like we have no action items from staff or information items from staff, which I think might be a first ever, but probably means everything's living in committee reports. So we'll move into route committee first.
All right. So I'm LaTanya Williams, presenting for the Route Committee. The first thing up is the FY26 work plan. I don't know if we have any displays on that, but I'll just talk to some of the key points for that. We already mentioned some of those through some of those last year, but the big highlights that's coming up, one is the Route 7 and the 15, which is South Saunders, and the Wake Med route will be moving to 15 minutes. I know you guys, if you haven't seen already on the social media for Go Raleigh, and the announcement, email came out today about the newsletter about the 15-minute routes. They've now expanded to 15-minute routes, so we're definitely pushing that, and we're definitely moving forward to that, but coming up more probably in marketing. The Route 17, which is the Rock Quarry Road route, was actually implemented in 2019. Right now, that moves, it's an hourly route, but it'll be moving to 30 minutes. If you haven't been along that route, Rock Quarry Road has increased dramatically with residents. The road has widened, and a lot of construction and development has happened along that route, so that'll definitely increase more riders, and ridership has picked up on the 17. The next one is the 21 car rally. It is actually going currently one direction, but it will be going bi-directional, part of the FY26 plan, moving to 20 minutes. And it will be, again, bi-directional, but accessing points to Dix Park, Gibson Park Plaza, and the Farmers Market. I think that's it from that. The next one, any questions?
The new Atlantic route, 14.
Yeah, that's coming. Okay. I'm not finished yet. The next one is Capitol Boulevard, which has been around for a while. There is no route change to that, but we'll currently it's 15 minutes, but we'll be moving to 10 minutes during the weekday and 15 minutes on the weekend, because that definitely has huge amount of ridership there. And the next one is kind of a new route, the 2 for Falls in the News, or is that a slight change?
Well, small tweak.
Yeah, small tweak at the endpoint, right? Right. And then the next one will be the 14, which will be a new route, which will be 30 minutes, and that will be the Atlantic Avenue route. And then the next topic, I will move to the South Street update. Do you want me to do that? Okay. So as we know that South Street is closing starting on Monday, if I remember correct, the exact date. So we do have routes already directed for that. We already planned for that. There was conversation about will Lenore Street be closed during concerts season, which starts April 26th. Staff told me that that street will not be closed, but I'm kind of hesitant, but there is communication out there, so hopefully Go Raleigh is not impacted by both street closures during the concert season. So they're in communications with street closures on those. So if those plans change, we will communicate out to the residents. And I think that's it for me. Any questions about the routes?
Oh, I was going to say that it's really exciting to be writing a plan for the next fiscal year, knowing that we've implemented the routes that we needed to implement for this fiscal year. It's an exciting moment. And so I want to praise staff and operations for making that possible. And then also just say that the Capitol Boulevard and the Carolee routes were at 1 and 21 going to 10-minute frequency is the first time that will be happening. It was something that wasn't even imagined when the Wake Transit Plan was written in 2015 to go more than 15-minute frequency on any routes. But the ridership, David Walker, you'll have to tell me the exact numbers, but the ridership on those routes is high enough that they are full at 15-minute frequency and they do need the additional capacity. I'm trying to keep it good news today.
And there's more to come, but I have to keep a tight lip on that, so.
Yeah, lots more always to come. Any other questions for Ms. Williams? Okay. We will keep rolling to finance and policy, which does have an action item for us. So I'll defer to y'all on how you want to handle.
Well, that was our big action at the Finance and Policy Committee last week. We approved the FY26 budget, approved moving it forward for our full committee vote today. We've been briefed, well, the budget has been on board docs, and I think all of our members have had a chance to look at it. We had a few questions, but are we going to have a full report, a full presentation? So yes. Yeah, we have the slides to summarize and show you before taking action. So.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Siobhan Tucker, Fiscal Supervisor with the Transit Division. Most of the slides that we have are the same as last month, but I'm definitely happy to answer any questions that you all may have about that information. In the committee meeting that we had last week, we did talk about some changes that were proposed through the Wake Transit Plan, work plan process. In between that draft work plan, these changes will be incorporated into the recommended work plan going to TPAC for adoption. So if you'd like, I can go through those slides. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, we'll start here, and I think some of these were just discussed with the committee. So starting at the top, the new route 14 Atlantic, the amount for FY26, the recommended amount did decrease, and that was due to the start date being changed from September 2025 to January 2026. It would operate weekdays and weekend days with 30-minute headways and 60-minute headways in the evening. Route 2, Falls of News, we did request additional funding for that route to increase the frequency, 15-minute minimum departure times during the day, and every 30 minutes minimum in the evening. Route 7, South Saunders, that amount did not change. However, the start date, implementation date has been changed from September 2025 to January, and that's adding 15-minute frequency on weekend days. And then Route 1 Capital, we just talked about that one. That start date is actually going to be earlier in September instead of January. And then the increased frequency, 10-minute on weekdays, 15-minute on weekends, and 30 minutes in the evenings. Moving on to Route 15 WICMED, that start date will be in January. It's adding 15-minute frequencies on weekend days. The Southeast Raleigh package improvements, there's an increase there to increase frequency on 30-minute days and 60-minute evening frequencies for Route 17 Rock Quarry. The Fare Assistance Program, we did revise that requested amount for 26 based on more recent data that planning staff has received. That program is more popular than expected, and so we did request more funding for both the fixed route and the paratransit fare assistance programs. For the Roseville Park and Ride, that amount was decreased to 0, no longer needed due to the route shift. For Route 21 Carroll Lee, that frequency is increased to 10 minutes on weekdays, 15-minute on weekends, and 30-minute in the evenings. And then Fuquay Varina Express, that route will be converted to microtransit mid-year, so there is a shift in funding from the express service into the microtransit service. And then on the capital side, according to the Wake Transit ART funding policy, the Southern BRT is eligible for $784,000 in funding. And then also, in order to support the higher frequency, the frequency increases that we talked about, there was an increase in the amount of vehicle acquisition budget that was requested to $8.8 million from 4 to 11 buses to support the service changes. And that concludes the Wake Transit updates.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. We did look at the budget in some detail at last month's meeting. We've certainly looked at it in committee a few times. If I heard Ms. Davis correctly, the Finance and Policy Committee recommends that we endorse it. Before I ask for that motion, is there any questions or further conversation around the budget? Okay. Anyone would like to entertain the budget for us to endorse for council's approval?
I will, Madam Chair. I'd like to propose that we endorse the FY26 budget as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Me. I oppose. I think we need a substantial investment in transportation. We're flat on, basically we only had an increase equal to inflation. One issue I had was particularly the shelters. There's no increase, and we know that there's going to be increased cost. So I just think that we need to ask for more money because at the city council meeting, the city staff is underpaid. So that's why I disagree with the budget as is.
Thank you for that. Just to make sure that I've tallied the vote correctly, that is 1 vote against and 7 in favor. Okay. Appreciate your opinions and your willingness to always express them and keep us in line.
Thank you.
The budget endorsement does pass without vote count, and so I trust that staff will keep us updated with any changes that would happen to the proposal as it moves forward through council's whole budget process. Okay. Then we will move to, it's not 4 o'clock yet, so we're going to move to marketing committee.
Sure. Okay, marketing met this week on a different normal day, but we had some good attendance, which was great, and a great conversation. So let me go through some of these items on the agenda. So Bike Month is next month, May, and so we talked about, what's coming up. This is an annual event, so some of it, we'll keep going with what's been done before, but then there's going to be some changes. This is run by our Commute Smart Raleigh team, and we went over some of the events that are coming up. So I hope we get some links or some of that in the weekly notification to you all, so that you can forward it to your networks, and perhaps that can be some of one way to go to an event and report back. Next, we have Million Milers. We have a good list, a good group of Million Milers coming up. What was it? 11 from last year and 4 more this year. So we have a group of 15. Tell me if I get anything wrong. But we want to try to promote that. It's a pretty unique opportunity to get some pub for these drivers who are hitting 1 million miles without an incident.
I was going to say, do you want to explain what it is in more detail?
So 1 million miles means a bus driver, 1 million drives for 1 million miles. It takes about 12 years, approximately, without an accident. And I think the stat was 4 of them actually hit 2 million. So this is their second time. So, so we're talking about opportunities to kind of get the word out and maybe recognize them. Maybe we can do something here for them. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. Next, bus signage. This was kind of just an informational thing. We got an update on how the digital signs on the buses more or less work. And so we're talking about, there's 2 on each bus, about 188 monitors total. And so by default, there's like it's cycling through like some information about how to track your bus and some other city-sponsored events, and we kind of went over the ad policy that goes on there. For me, I brought it up because just talking to people, there was just some anecdotes that they were not even on. So I'm kind of just raising awareness for that. If anyone does see those, or hear about anyone that notices that the signs aren't running anything, let's maybe get some feedback and see if we can fix that, because I feel like some of this track your bus and the events is like a no-brainer way of getting the word out. So if it's not being displayed, maybe that can be an easy fix. Next, we talked about Dreamville promotion. Dreamville was this past weekend, and the staff did some great work putting some material up on the website to highlight that the Go Raleigh is an option to get out to Dix Park, and that there were 2 routes at 15-minute frequencies to go there. They quickly pulled up some figures and saw a spike, so we saw it was being used above normal, so that's a good way of validating the work there. And then we kind of just went on to have a general discussion about, should we expand that to other events? How are events handled and stuff like that? So I thought that was pretty interesting. So, Dreamville, I think, went well from our point of view. Next, we got going over engagement opportunities, engagement events updates. This was just some figures showing that staff is out there. Some of the quick hits are they attended 26 events, interacted with about 2,000 residents, and put in over 100 hours of time to just show up at events and talk to people and kind of just advocate and inform residents about Go Raleigh. So that was a nice update. And then finally, we went over next fiscal year's ad spend, including one big change. The Busopoly has kind of run its course, I think. And so we'll be trying a new influencer campaign next year. And so we kind of brainstormed that. We had a short list of potential influencers, social media influencers, and others to reach out to and see if they can take their own creative spin on how to ride the bus or something, go Raleigh related. And so if anyone here has suggestions on some influencer or outlet you particularly like, send it in or send it to Andrea and the team, and they'll follow up. But we're hoping that this will be something new. It'll reach new audiences, and it'll offer a creative, different spin on how to ride the bus, what other ways to use it, probably ways we probably haven't thought of yet. So it'll focus on like Instagram and Facebook and blogs, and trying to get some variety going. So it might be food, but it might also be like budgeting, it might be events, other things like that. So we'll see where that goes. And then we reviewed kind of the rest of the what the rest of the ad plan should be. And that's it. Let me know if you have any questions.
Good. Oh, yeah. So I attended the marketing meeting, and I noticed that there's a budget for the influencer campaign or overall marketing. Is that final, or was just a rough estimate? Or do we need to vote on that?
The influencer campaign, that wasn't set. I mean, we were still talking about who it would be.
Okay. Because I noticed that a large dollar is going to one organization, like 74,000 is going to WRL for radio, and I forgot what the other category it fell under, but it would be great if some of those campaign dollars can go to other radio brands, such as like Radio 1 or iHeartRadio. I know Spotify was one of your guys' part of the budget, but I think we need to expand to a larger audience besides those just on WRL. So if we can expand outside of radio traffic. Yeah.
I think marketing committee has been pretty diligent in the meetings I've attended. I wasn't at this month's meeting at looking at different market things. I similarly asked about the big spend that we spent on WRAL advertising last year, and staff sent back a report about how many more viewers WRAL has than all of our other spins. That made me change my mind. I'm not saying that it will change your mind too. But I was actually quite surprised to see just what the amount of people that it reaches and the return in terms of our web traffic when those things do play. So I think that's something that the committee could potentially take back in for further discussion. Yeah. So I know you guys will massage that budget throughout the year. Does that work?
Yeah, that's fine. I understand that WRL has a big, large following, but not for radio. Not everyone listens to traffic radio. So if you're trying to get millennials and other age groups, you want to diversify who you reach, because we're trying to get new writers. So just having it one brand, like Radio 1 has multiple radio stations in the area. iHeartRadio has multiple radio stations in the area. So I'm just asking if we can expand those dollars to other other avenues.
I mean, the influencer campaign had more money behind it than WRL.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that satisfy reaching new audience?
Yeah, that's a large number, but I think didn't you have more funds?
I think probably what you're getting at and would help, and we can take it at a future meeting, is kind of like, 'cause from my opinion, being here, like the WRL stuff was kind of like tried and true. So maybe like that has a history. So what do we feel about that history, and what kind of audience is it hitting? If there's numbers at all, and then we can compare it to an estimate, like what could the influencer campaign possibly reach, and then does that make sense? Because maybe we're getting more bang for the buck on one campaign versus something new that's unproven I don't know, we need to like list them out and kind of show a metric that keeps them consistent.
I guess, what is the marketing budget now? Like, because I think you have a bigger budget, so I think you have more funds to add to.
It's 250.
Yeah. So based off 250, you still have enough funds to add to other brands.
Yeah, I think during the committee, it was acknowledged that there was still a remaining balance that has not been spent, that certainly the committee can look at other options and where they might want to spend those dollars. WRAL does provide a huge amount of name recognition. It's a tremendous audience. So, our team and the committee were all in tune to, keeping that active. One of those two is a regional buy that includes Raleigh, Durham, and Go Triangle, and I think Go Cary as well. So it'd be hard to back out of that one, and that's the smaller one anyway. I think the other one's the calendar update, where we sponsor that calendar update every morning and afternoon.
I know there's a recent campaign for the 15-minute frequency. I'm not sure. It's a radio ad that I heard over the weekend, so I'm not sure what station that is. But I like the campaign, so it's working. But I don't know if there's anything else coming up. So,
But correct me if I'm wrong, because I thought I left that meeting under the impression that it'd probably be good to have most of the money allocated going into fiscal year. But if there's unallocated funds, I mean, we can decide December, March, whatever, what we're going to do with it, yeah? Or no?
Right. If something else comes up that you see and I like that, let's spend some money on that, then
Right.
it's, if you haven't spent all your money on July 1, then you've got that option.
Right, okay. So we have flexibility.
I'd just like to echo that because I was at that meeting also, and it was the first marketing meeting I've been to. I would not, and I don't know if you were talking about compared, like take some money away from influencers, not at all, because that sounds like it could be a really exciting campaign. But we did learn in the meeting that there was some extra dollars, and I think it makes sense to explore whether there's other outlets, and I bet the staff does that all the time, trying to see if there are other outlets where we might reach a demographic that we aren't currently reaching with the WRAL budget, just to expand to somewhere else. So that would be my suggestion.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense, and if you're willing to take it into committee, I think that's the best place for that conversation. I think my insight was just that I've asked similar questions and was actually impressed with the statistics that they showed. Are you cool to take that in committee?
Yeah. And it'd be good to maybe, so it sounds like a little, like, dig up what maybe you saw and see if that's still, hitting as hard.
Well, and marketing changes every month, so.
Exactly.
Okay. Any other questions for marketing on any of those points? Now it is 4:06, so sorry to our public commenters. But we will switch over to public comment. I don't have the list, but I know there are folks here to speak, so if you can come on up.
Good afternoon. My name is Chip Thrasher, citizen District D. I wanted to express my support, and I don't know if this is an RTA thing or a staff thing, but on UMO, I heard UMO is able to do Apple Pay. So in 2026, whenever the next contract is, I want to express my support for updating the contract to include Apple Pay. I've talked to a few people, and they, anecdotally, and it just makes sense. It really is kind of a barrier to entry to have an app. So Apple Pay would be a solution to that. So I'm wondering, do you have any thoughts on the budget for that? Do you know how much it would cost more?
We have talked about that a couple times, so I'll defer to staff, and whether we remember all the numbers off the top of our head is unlikely. But we have been exploring different ways to add tap to pay and Apple Pay and other payment methods besides the app. The app is very new to us, obviously, so there's some learning time. But Mr. Walker, do you remember in particular where we landed on any of those conversations?
We can certainly follow up with Mr. Thrasher and see what that would be, but I don't have those numbers here.
Okay, gotcha, yeah.
I would include Google Pay. We don't want to leave the Android users out, so.
Yes.
Agreed.
Just the mobile app itself allows you to pay through the app. You don't pay, you're not paying per ride as you get on the bus, but you buy your fare through the app. You put your credit card or whatever on there. But you are using your mobile device or smart device to purchase that fare.
Yeah, I guess the barrier to entry I'm specifically thinking of is not having to have the app.
Yeah, we did discuss tap to pay when we were talking about implementation. So it is something that's on our radar, and I think we can put it, if Linda, if you're okay with bringing it to a future Finance and Policy Committee, and staff can dig up that information and see if there's any updates. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, I just think it it'll lead to more ridership.
And I just have one question. And just so I'm clear, you're talking about like if you got on the bus and just kind of like with a card reader like you would do at a store and just bring up that? Like if you use Apple Pay on the actual bus? Is that what you're asking about? Okay.
And the way the system would theoretically work is it attaches your credit card to be who you are, and you can, if you want, I know there's some data tracking concerns, like we want to know about ridership and who rides and all that stuff. Obviously, if you tap to pay, it could not go through, but the maximum loss for the city would be one ride per account, I guess. Mm-hmm. So it works in New York. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Awesome, definitely.
Excellent. Thank you so
Always
much.
welcome good ideas like that.
Appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Sorry.
Yeah, so quick.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
So if I
Go
could
ahead.
share just a quick anecdote, like I was trying to get on a bus with two friends, and one of them quickly installed the UMO app, got it set up and everything. The other one just didn't do it, and we were assuming like, oh yeah, I'll pay for you, but that doesn't work with the UMO app. You can't like go twice, right? So in the moment, he wasn't going to start like, the bus driver just like just get on, right? So there was one person rode for free, right? No big deal, but having that kind of flexibility could have maybe, oh, you can do it this way. I don't know, maybe whatever people are used to, they can just tap or something like that. Just something to think about.
No, it's a good point. I think it's also a reminder that just because we make one decision, like when we implement fares, doesn't mean that we don't need to revisit it, at least once a year or ever, 2 times a year or something like that. So definitely appreciate the feedback. There was other, I still don't have the list, sorry. Are there other public comments?
I think we only had the one that signed up, but we do have 2 additional that came in that wanted to speak. So.
Okay. Come on up.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael General. My email address is tgfumatter@icloud.com. This is something I had on my agenda for maybe about a year. It's pertaining to the holiday, Juneteenth. Juneteenth became a federal holiday recognized on June 17, 2021, honoring the emancipation and enslavement of African Americans, a pivotal moment in our nation history. At Go Raleigh, we believe it's only right that we are able to honor this holiday in both spirit and policy.
Sorry, we forgot to reset the time. Keep going.
Okay. Our collective bargaining agreement reflects this and fully recognizes Juneteenth as a paid holiday, supports the value and equity, inclusion, and respect for our shared history. The issue that we have with it is we're the only fixed route transportation company in the Go Raleigh area that works a full scheduled day. Every other Triangle, Go Durham, TTA is on a modified schedule, which means they work on a holiday or a Sunday schedule. So what that does is we have, on a regular day, we may have 120 operators working full service. You're not connecting with the TTA routes and the Go Durham routes and the Go Triangle routes because we are the only ones out there actually that don't have a right to bid on that day and choose whether we want to work or not based upon our seniority. I did have this conversation with General Manager Tanya Dupree last year, and she said she would put us before the people to have this conversation. But I just was saying we deserve the respect that every other fixed route transportation company has, on rather we choose the work that they're not based upon seniority. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you as always for bringing those kind of issues forward, just so that we're aware of them. I think you know that we can't per se jump into the collective bargaining agreement or the conversations that y'all have, but certainly respect the need to have the conversation, and hope that the folks from RITP Dev, I'm sure, will be encouraged by staff, and the city of Raleigh recognizes Juneteenth as a holiday as well as the federal government, and so we'll do what we can. But I just wanted to make sure that all the board and you know this as well, that we can't jump into your collective bargaining conversations, but we do hear you.
It is recognized as a holiday in our contract. We do get paid for the holiday. But some of our senior operators have said, how do we get, every city official or government building downtown is closed. Martin Luther King Day, we experienced the same, that's the same holiday, Memorial Day, Labor Day, where we work on a modified schedule.
Okay.
But when it came to Juneteenth, everybody was all hands on deck, full service. So we did have that conversation with management, and they did tell us they'll put us before the people to have this conversation.
Okay.
But we're getting close again, and I'm a full-time operator as well, so sometimes, it's hard for me to get down here because I'm in the building
we
12,
appreciate you
13
coming
hours
in.
a day.
Absolutely. Mr. Walker, do you know who makes the decision on which holidays have full schedule and which have modified schedule?
The city and this board potentially. I'll have to check to see what, how that would be determined.
Okay. Well, if it is in our power to change that, then we will have that conversation and decision at our May meeting, so that you have an answer ahead of time.
Okay.
Does that?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. There's another public comment. Welcome.
Yeah. Hello, everyone.
Sorry, we're new to working the
I'm Clifton Hill. Email eachoneteachone.ch@gmail.com. I'm in attendance to formally raise a serious and ongoing safety concern regarding the facility gate at Go Raleigh Pool Road, which has been reportedly been broken nearly 3 years, I believe, or maybe more. As all are aware, the gate serves as a critical security measure to protect not only the company's property and equipment, but more importantly, the safety of employees who work on the site. An inoperable gate creates a number of risks, including unauthorized access, employee safety, and even liability exposure. The fact that this situation has persisted for nearly 3 years is deeply troubling. Safety is not optional. It is a basic responsibility. We urge management, the city, to immediately take steps to repair or replace the gate and to implement interim security measures until the issue is fully resolved. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one question. So you're saying that at that facility where employees would go or park or buses will park, the security gate is basically not working, or anybody can just walk back there?
Yeah,
in the vehicles, all kinds of
Yes,
things?
sir. We experienced a bunch of complaints, cars we don't know, just riding through. Then we got to escort them out, and we have a door back there. Sometimes it's not working properly. We have, maintenance that work at night. This gate is wide open. This is where the bus is going through. Not our cars supposed to go through there, but cars have been going through there. They have too much access to us. So we preach safety, so we want to hold the city and management accountable for safety for us too. They preach safety, so we asking y'all to do the same.
Absolutely.
Thank you for bringing it to this body's attention. Mr. Walker, did you have any thing to add?
I'm going to look to Ms. Tromba, but I believe we issued a RF or an invitation to bid, to work on that gate, and we got no bids. I think we may be reworking that to see if we can get some bids, but it's similar to some other construction contracts that we've had recently. It's at this time, it's hard to get folks to come out and do work or bid on work.
Okay, can we get just an update on that project at Route Committee?
Sure.
Do you have a question?
Yes, I have two. So the cars that go in there are not employees, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so, Mr. Walker, I got a question. With the new development that's right behind there, I'm not sure if they're gonna open that street up. How can we be proactive, I would say, to secure that area? Does that make sense? So at the very end, there's Habitat for Humanity that's being built, and I'm not sure if they're going to open that road right behind there. They probably will, because city likes to open all roads out. So how do we protect the Go Raleigh side? Or is there conversations about protecting that area or blocking it off?
There is a gate.
Okay.
There are issues with that gate, and we are actively working to get that fixed. But the gate is either open or it's closed. There's not really any in-between that you can do at this point, other than having somebody stand out there and say, don't go there. I don't think, I'm not down there a lot, so I'm not sure what kind of traffic accidental turn-ins there are, but we can certainly watch cameras and get some feedback on that and bring it back to the committee.
Okay.
I have a question.
So I would pose that question to Mr. Dupree when you come up, or we can defer that to a later time. Is the gate automatic, or is just standard gate? So it's triggered by the bus?
I think there used to be remotes in the buses.
It used to be, yeah, remotes in the bus where it'll line up and it'll automatically open. But now, because it's broke, it's just staying open, and I'm asking at least get some security until we can get this problem fixed.
Gotcha.
That was going to
Okay.
be my question. I know if the people who we have for security down at Moore Square, like the security company that they use, at least looking into for a short-term basis, if having someone there, a physical security person there for when, if their car, like buses, is supposed to go back there. But if a car pulls up, can see if it's not an employee car or an appropriate vehicle to be back there, then the security guard or personnel could, turn them around and maybe do that for a short term.
I would say let staff work with RATP Dev, see how much of an issue there is, and we'll look into see what options we have.
Sure.
Can I ask a question? Is this something that Mr. Ballin, who is your security person, is that something that he can look at and maybe give recommendations to in the short term as well as the long term in regards to taking care of keeping people out of that area? At the same time, long term, maybe coming up with bids to get that gate fixed through bids or contract.
As I said, staff can work with RATP Dev and certainly see what our options are.
Okay. We'll make sure that comes back to the board at our next month's committee meetings. It does sound like staff is aware. We have had multiple problems getting things fixed on time because the construction folks are just as busy as the rest of everybody and just as short staffed as the rest of everybody. But heard, and thank you for bringing it to our attention.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Were there any other public comments? Okay. That's always my favorite part. I'm so happy when we have public comments. So all chances to talk are wonderful, even if we are working out problems. So thank you for coming. I had put that we would talk to Mr. Eatman in, after committee reports and before the general manager's report. Did he? I thought I saw him come in. Do you want to come on up for your comments?
Make sure you put 3 minutes up there. So I appreciate the time. Very quickly, David Eatman, Assistant Transportation Director with Transit. I had the pleasure of sitting in Mr. Walker's seat there for about 18 years and serving this body. So wanted to come before you today and let you know that I have decided to retire June 1st. Been with the city here for about 20 years, over 30 years with public service, and then about 33 years in transit total. I don't think that my family will just let me sit home, so I'm probably going to do something at some time later in the year. But just kind of a new chapter. Tell you the honest truth, I think I'm scared to death because I've done this for so long. That's really what I do. And when every day that you wake, you revolve around what you do here in many, many ways. It's going to be certainly a new adventure for me. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know that personally. I don't like to just send people emails and say, hey, guess what? Again, just wanted to let you know that today. But thank you so much for everything that this body does for transit here in Raleigh. It's been a pleasure to serve this body for many years. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Reitman, for your service for many years. It's been a joy to work with you through hard times and good news. Appreciate you coming in person to share the news with us. And I can't say that we're not disappointed that you're leaving because you make a lot of things happen. But we're glad that you're onto a new chapter.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have to pause for a minute.
But you know, Mr. Eatman, if you want to join the board on this
I was gonna say
side,
there will be some openings.
more than welcome, because your knowledge is so vast. So
I'll be coming back for public comment just for David Walker.
He doesn't live in the city, so he's not eligible to be on the board.
Oh, no. I'm sure we can find a board somewhere for him. Well, the next thing on our agenda is the general manager's report. So hear from our ITP dev for that. Tanya, are you? And Ms. Dupree, when you talk about the KPIs, if you want to start by, if there's anything that you wanted to add in response to public comments, feel free to do that, or we can talk about it in committee next month as well.
Okay. Yeah, just to reiterate what David said, that we'll work together to address the issues that was brought up. In terms of the safety, we do now have a new facility director that started last week. So he and Michael Ballin will work with the city team to discuss next steps moving forward. And I did want to add, we have 6 additional million milers with the access side of the house. So in addition to the ones that you named earlier, there are 6 that will also be honored.
Wow. That's great.
All right. I can see myself. The active operators, February number was 226. As of today, we have 236 full-time and 8 part-time operators. In terms of missed trips, there was a slight decrease in February. I think we ended up with 248. Last month, it was around 160, and thus far, we have 20 missed trips for this month. We've done a lot of different campaigns with the different staff members, the operators, as well as the dispatchers in order to try to get that number down. Ridership, I added this slide because I didn't know if there would be questions because there is a huge jump from the previous months into February. And I just wanted to reiterate that we're now using the APC data to do our ridership count, and that is a more accurate method. On-time performance, that is an area that we continue to monitor. I know you met Ralphie last month. He is taking that on as a project, and is going to be working with Clever Devices because we have identified that it is more of a system technical error than operator issue. I'm going really fast. The PMs, this is something that we normally report on. It didn't seem like it to me last month, but we clearly went more miles without a roll call than I thought. So I'm really proud of the maintenance team for that. We are extremely short-staffed in that area, so they work really hard to make sure that our vehicles are operable and operating properly. Any questions for me about any of the fixed route information? No?
Yes, I kind of see that we're struggling to keep operators. And I was looking at the website, and could you help me understand why that Durham, the flat base rate pay is $2,000 more annually than the city of Raleigh? I mean, I know you may not determine that, but I'm just curious of why they would have a higher rate of pay in Durham when the cost of living is less.
So wages are negotiated as a part of the contract every 3 years, and as a part of that, we determine in each area, your CBA, what the wage should be. So if it is $2,000, it's because that's what they negotiated in terms of their contract. So what we're doing now for Raleigh is that we've put in a sign-on bonus, retention bonus, if you will, of $2,500.
So is that not true in Durham?
I'm not aware of an incentive bonus that they have in Durham.
Okay. It's just concerning to see, I mean, we reach peaks and then we go backwards, you know, a lot with, what is the retention rate currently with our bus drivers?
So our retention rate is high, but part of that is we also started a new program called the EGLET program. So anyone off the street with a C license that has a good driving record, we teach them to get their permits. So they go through a small training session of 3 days. And in that 3 days, they're taught to get the permit. And the thought process is then they go to the DMV, get their permit, and then they enter our regular training class. We don't have a high retention rate with that particular program right now. So that impacts our numbers. So that shows up every time when we talk about the employees.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. For that retention rate for that program, since you don't have do people say why they don't stay with the program? Like, do you have any indication as to why there is short retention for it?
So it's fairly new, and that's one of the new processes that we've implemented. We make sure that our recruiter is following up with those individuals weekly to see where they are and determine, you know, if this is something that they really want to do. What we're seeing is that in most cases, they just decide that driving the bus is not for them.
Are there any ways to make it seem fun to drive the bus?
Are you volunteering, Mr. Lee?
Make it seem fun to drive the bus.
Yeah.
Some money. All right. Maybe I'll get in there. I think my license is good.
I think one of the things that did come out of our retreat that we may not have been able to share directly with you yet, Mr. Pri, is just that this board recognizes that we are coming out of a driver shortage into having just enough drivers, and you guys have done most of the legwork on that, and we're really appreciative. But it's definitely something that we're aware of, that how we recognize, how we treat our operators, how we pay our operators is essential to all of our shared transit goals. So know that we are here for all levels of management and operators to recognize them. So like the Million Milers program, whatever we can do as a body to recognize folks that are doing well, whatever we can do to help with recruitment, please let us know what that is, because while many of us might ride the bus, we don't drive the bus, so we don't necessarily know what is needed. So we always welcome that.
Okay.
Can you go back to the mistrip slide? Because I don't think she's given her team enough credit, and when I say team, I mean all of the RETP Dev operators, mechanics. But you'll see a pretty significant drop in missed trips there over the last 3 to 4 months. They've been putting out lots of additional incentives, financial incentives for people coming in, performing their work, especially on weekends, because we were seeing a lot of missed trips on weekends. But we had a few months where we missed 350 to 400, 500 trips a month, and I think this month it reflects 250 or 260. Last month, which was not on the chart yet, it was in the 150, 160 range, and they're trending to be under 100 this month. So they're doing a lot of good work to make sure that they're offering additional financial incentives so that folks are wanting to come to work and perform those shifts.
Thank you for that. And to the
Yeah, and the
drivers.
addition of part-timers has been really helpful too, so we appreciate the union. We worked really closely with them to amend the CBA so that we were able to start to hire part-time employees.
Are you looking to hire more part-time employees?
Yeah, we got a few more open slots.
Is that part of your campaign?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
I've
you were
seen it.
volunteering for a second.
Oh, no.
So with the additional routes, how many more drivers, the more frequency, how many are we going to need in addition?
Yeah, we have to work through that. We take the information from the planning team and we put it in our run cutting software and then determine how many positions we'll have available.
Thank you. And then did you have Go Access KPIs as well?
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. So here, they're just doing a comparison between the taxis and the Go Raleigh van, the expenditures. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm Tressica, the AGM for overhead access. So I work closely with the paratransit side. This just looks at the cost per average for the trips on the taxis. It just gives us that per each month. This is just a cancellation of far as the trips and the no-shows, taxis versus the vehicles. And we can see that the passengers are doing better at the cancellations as well as no-shows, which has actually helped in the costs and keeping it down from where it was when we do a comparison like over a year or so ago. So the cost is kind of maintained as far as each month. The OTP. OTP on average is always above the 85%, and you can see that's across the board, taxis and the vans. So overall, both have been running very well as far as with the software in place and just monitoring and everybody kind of doing their due diligence to provide the best service possible. So like I said, 85% is our goal, and for most months, we're all above 85%.
What happened in February for cancellations by clients? Well, it was a big spike. Do you know the reason?
For which one?
The
February-
cancellations.
The cancellation by clients.
Yeah, so anytime there is weather events, that would have happened in January and February. So when services, of course, if Go Raleigh, the buses don't run, that affects the service. So paratransit is the same way. We follow their schedule. If it closes early, we close early. And then you have a tendency of passengers calling to cancel. A non-ambulatory passenger doesn't want to be stuck in the rain, snow, or anywhere else during that type of weather. So a lot of times they'll go ahead and cancel for the whole day, which impacts the ridership. So you're going to get more. But they are doing that more than before, where they would just leave the trips and then you got vendors and passengers, taxis, whoever out there trying to go pick up somebody and having more no-shows. So it's balancing itself out.
Yeah, it was just a big spike, so I was just curious about particular.
But the weather played a role.
Were there other Go Access questions?
Well, the cancellations, there's no financial,
No.
it's only no-show.
Exactly.
I do want to commend you. I'm having a lot of good comments from the community on the customer service when we call dispatch. I do want to commend you on that. What is the average cost for the van service? I do see the average cost for the taxi, but not for the van. Is it still over $60?
The last couple months it has been, but that's like overall for all services for what we actually do. So it's not just like per a trip, it's how that's not looked at per trip for the vans.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
You
So-
want to explain it?
You have what, 3 vans after 7 o'clock that are basically
7, 8.
stationed out in the city with no trips. So we're paying 3 hours of revenue service from 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9 to 10, up till 11 o'clock.
So that
And they're out
inflates.
there to rescue basically taxi trips that get turned in at the last minute. We have a tremendous amount of taxis that have trips assigned to them that at 7 o'clock they'll call and say, we're shutting down for the day. And if your taxi does that and you're not home yet, then we have to come and get you or find somebody to come and get you. So we have a tremendous amount of non-productive time that's going into those calculations to get that $65 or $70 an hour
Yeah.
for service. It's not a true per trip cost because we have to add all the total cost of the system into those calculations. But I understand your point. It is more expensive by all means to provide the van trips. But we have clients that ask for the van versus a taxi. So, you've brought this up before. Why don't we just put taxis on everything? We allow the client to choose what he wants. And if the client says, I want the van, then we send the van. But we always have the van out there as a backup to rescue those people that get stranded by the taxis. And that happens quite often throughout the day, but a lot at night.
Well, as I said before, I'm very pleased with Go Raleigh Access. I think that the city is performing a very good service, but there's always room for improvement.
Absolutely, we agree, and we're open to it. Anything we can do to improve, that's what we're here for. So, like last meeting we all just had, it was a very highlight to hear that the customer service, the dispatch, and all the staff has went to numerous, Rap Deb covered that, and we went through a whole process of customer service, and then they just had their refresher course. And then, we're constantly having meetings with them monthly now just to make sure that calls are getting answered and passengers are getting the service that they deserve when they're out there. David hit too, it's the nights, and then we are actually running services on Sundays now. At one time, it wasn't, and it's still later on Sundays than what we were doing just to cover those trips that get rejected or sent back late. So our goal is to make sure that everybody gets where they need to go at all times.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. I always appreciate having the report from both Fixed Route and Go Access. Concluding remarks from other authority members? Staff? Oh, Ms. Williams?
I just want to say, whenever the $1 million recognition happens at with RPTDF, just let us know. So we'll like to attend if schedule permits. Thank you.
All right, I will adjourn the meeting at 4:41 PM then.